Thanks very much. Welcome to Tell the Truth. You know, most people don't think twice about having to fill out a long questionnaire, maybe for something like an insurance policy or a school admission or maybe a job application. But today on Tell the Truth, we have a man who will tell us how this simple act can become an invasion of personal privacy. And we'll meet him in a moment, right after we say hello to the panel here on Tell the Truth.
Bill Cullen. Peggy Cass. Nipsey Russell. And Kitty Carlisle.
Look at
Gonna say, aren't we?
Yes.
Nipsey's the only one who looks like he's in his right mind there.
You know, I gotta be cool. We porn stars.
Panel, we got a wild gimmick to start this thing out with. I would like you to listen to a tape recording that we have put together. Now, I know that you're going to recognize two of the voices on the tape. One will be the voice of Bruno Zirato, who is our producer. And the other one, Bruno, hold up your hand in the picture. That's Bruno over there. And the other voice will be that of Roger Peterson, who is our associate producer. That, of course, is Roger. Now, they are both in this tape. They're both talking on the telephone, and you'll have to listen very, very carefully. The object is to find out who is it that they're talking to. And it's kind of muffled, so let's listen to tape number one.
Are you going away?
I might go to the coast.
What, are you going to take your wife?
Yeah, I think I will.
Why?
Fat chance I have of going to her hometown without taking her. Fat chance. Fat chance.
Bad chance. Anybody got any guesses as to
No idea at all. No, I was in jail that day. I remember.
That was the one call.
Fat chance, fat chance. Let's listen to the second tape and see who we think it is.
Oh, it's terrible cold. I was last week.
You really feel that bad, honey?
Yeah, well, I'm on antibiotics and they make me throw up. That's
shut
the worst part of it.
Antibiotics make me throw up? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Charming.
What did you take that for?
What a delicate discussion.
Yesterday.
Oh, well, let's go on and see what we can find out about this third tape. Listen to this one carefully.
Our ideal of a pleasant evening is to, with dinner.
Alone, yeah,
Yeah, alone.
two of us. More so than out in public.
Do you ever use any of your poems on gals?
No, hardly. I don't want to make her laugh. I want to make her think.
Nipsey, that's the right thought. Don't make them laugh, make them think. And I wonder who this fourth soundtrack could be. Let's listen carefully.
Good looking.
Hello, darling. That's the nicest thing you said to me in a year.
You don't have anything sexy to tell me?
Oh, yes, I do. A man came in over the weekend with a beard, and I kissed him, and I said, it's not as good as Bruno Zirato's.
Oh.
Wow.
What some people will do to work.
Oh, heavens.
I had no idea you'd been necking with our producer. Nipsey, yes.
Spent every nickel I had in the world on gifts and flowers, yet I lost the girl. Better fish in the sea, they say. Don't worry, just you wait. Who cares how many fish there are? I've used up all my bait.
Well, now, I'm sure you all remember when you got those phone calls because
yes.
it's been in the past couple of days. And, of course, what you didn't know was that there was a microphone attached to the telephone.
It's an invasion of
Roger
my
Peterson is a rat face.
Exactly.
It's an invasion of my privacy.
It's an invasion of your privacy,
I want a raise.
and we would never have done it except to prove how easy it is to do. Because we have with us today an expert who on all kinds of invasion of privacy in this automated world in which we live, and let's meet him right now.
Number one, what is your name, please?
My name is Arthur Miller.
Number two.
My name is Arthur Miller.
Number three.
My name is Arthur Miller.
Now, one of the three of them, of course, is the author, except in this case, he is an author. We'll tell you about that. They all claim to be Arthur Miller, so let's listen to his story. I, Arthur Miller, am deeply concerned about the increasing infringement on personal privacy in America today. In today's computer culture, Both public and private agencies are constantly accumulating highly personal material about almost every citizen in our country. Anyone who has ever applied for an insurance policy or credit card, filled out an employment application, or even filed a tax return or census report has given out personal information that he might not wish to become public knowledge. This material often finds its way to some data bank or master computer, and there it is, all too easily available to almost anyone who wishes it. I have written a book outlining the potential danger to the individual in this situation. I call my book Assault on Privacy, signed Arthur Miller. And we'll be back to start the questioning as soon as we hear from those from whom all blessings flow. Now, all three of these gentlemen over here claim to be Arthur Miller, author of Assault on Privacy. And Peggy Cass, let's start the questioning with you.
Thank you. Number 3, do you think that for instance, that the government taps many private phones?
No, I don't.
Oh, well,
What do you mean by many? Let's
well, I'm sure, well, I mean, do they tap it? Well, no, never mind that. I want to ask you something. Number 1, isn't it my constitutional right to have my privacy and not to have somebody tape my phone conversations?
It's not clear.
Well, okay, now, number 2, if I file out a tax report, can the government, with the Internal Revenue, give that tax report information to some other branch of the government?
Yes, indeed.
Well, is it not my legal right not to have them do that?
It's a very unclear area.
Well, my dear, it's my government, and they're supposed to do what I tell them. No, I don't mean that I'm empress, but I mean...
I heard Mr. Nixon say just the other day, Peggy hasn't called me in the last couple of days. I don't know what to do.
No, but you know what I mean. Number 3, well, they shouldn't do it.
All right. And let's go to Nipsey.
Number 3, as I understand it, information gotten on wiretaps is not permissible as evidence in courts. Then
That is not correct.
That is not correct.
That is not correct.
All right. Number 2, the other uses to which this information could be put, such as putting your name on sucker lists for credit, unwanted mail, and things of that sort. How does that relate to a data bank?
If there is a data bank, the great fear about having a national data bank is that would be possible, that all sorts of information about you and me could be given out to anybody who wanted it, who didn't really have a right to it.
Number 1, since the Social Security number is almost a cross-reference for other things that are negotiated in money terms, what is the protection against it being known?
At the moment, there's very little.
And we go now to Kitty Carlisle.
Number 3, the Army was investigating private citizens a while ago, and there was a great hue and cry. Was that just stopped, or was it shoved under the rug, the way many things are?
Well, basically, it was shoved under the rug. The data collected pursuant to those investigations is still on file in Fort Hollyburg and near Baltimore.
Thank you. Thank you. Number 2, there was a case in Washington a while back where a guy was arrested and the charges were proved false, but his records had already gone to the FBI and the judge wanted them back. Did he ever get them back?
I really don't know.
You don't know about that case. Number 1, can the government keep a watch on your mail?
Yes.
And how do they do that?
It's through the post office.
And when you get it back, is it already opened?
Oh.
No, they just watch it as it comes through.
But they don't open it?
Not as far as I know.
I thought, do they open it?
And from Kitty, we're going to go down for the final questioning, Bill Cullen.
How can they
Well,
watch
I have more important questions to ask than this one, but this is personal to me. Number 2, is it legal for the post office employees in my area to read my Playboy before they send it over?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
It's a very well-thumbed issue by the time I get it.
You got thumbprints on your centerfold?
They get thumbprints on my centerfold, and you got to see where they canceled it. Never mind. Number 1, how many facts about me personally? I lead a normally active life as far as spending and charging and things like that. What facts about me personally can a person or an entity get?
Well, a great deal about your financial life.
Yeah.
About your vocation.
Yeah.
About your associations, I suppose.
Associations?
Yeah.
Whoa, boy.
Who your friends are.
Who my friends are?
Young Men's Christian Association.
Yeah, things like that. And now, number
I'm
3.
sorry, there goes the bell, and that cuts off all the questioning, and on what little we know, we must form an opinion. And we must decide whether it is number 1 or number 2 Or number 3, it's $50 for a wrong vote, $500 if nobody gets the right fella, and Peggy Cass starts.
You know, I don't like the idea of the government gumshoeing around my associations. None of their business.
Okay.
All right,
I'll
I
tell
voted
him.
for number 3 because he doesn't like it either.
1 vote for number 3, and Nipsey Russell's up.
Number 3 knew quite a bit about it, even the place where they've stored the information that they've collected. But I had the impression that if there's a guy who's going to keep his mouth shut and watch closely, it would be number 1.
He's got that look. You got a number 1 showing, and Kitty Carlisle.
I voted with the Empress of all the Russias, advisor to Mr. Nixon, Miss Peggy Cass.
We got 2 3s and a 1. Bill, what are you going to do?
Well, there's only one thing worrying about my vote. It's going to leave someone unvoted for who will undoubtedly win. I, too, voted for number 1. He has a look of a man who wants to, well, a Snoopy look. That's what it is.
What's in one eye, like a keyhole
It's an
peep.
anti-Snoop.
We got 2 1s and 2 3s and nobody on 2.
Don't try
Remember,
to
it costs us $500 if nobody picks the right guy. Keep that in mind, will you? The votes are all in. And will the real Arthur Miller please stand up?
I can't believe it. Oh.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. And number 2, I don't know about that. I guess you just look like you don't read people's mail. What is your real name and what do you do?
Well, I'm also a Miller. I'm R. Talbot Miller. I'm executive director of the Foundation for Perception and Talent.
We've got 2 Mr. Millers over there. Number 3, sir, with 2 wrong votes. What is your real name? What do you do?
I also am a Miller, and I'm Ward Miller. I'm an attorney with Standard Brands, a food company here in New York, and our law school classmate of the real Arthur Miller.
And the real Arthur Miller, we never did discover, sir, exactly what you do when you are not writing this book.
At the moment, I'm a law professor at the University of Michigan.
So he knows whereof he speaks.
Yes.
Thank you very much, and thank you, imposters, all Millers, for being... Now, we got something coming up that I think is going to particularly appeal to Peggy because she likes to go places that are different. This is a piece of film here, just a little vacation suggestion, Peggy. That is turgid water of a river.
Colorado?
Yeah, down
the snake.
Look at that.
That's the Colorado.
Now, all but one of those nuts bouncing around in that oversized rubber raft are tourists. And believe it or not, they all paid good money to risk their necks and their stomachs like that.
And take a chance of getting their brains crashed out.
Right, and the one member of that courageous crew who is not a tourist is going to be with us in just a few moments as soon as we run a few rapids of our own.
I'd love to do.
And now, let us meet our rider of rapids.
Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Carol Miller.
Number 2.
My name is Carol Miller.
Number 3.
My name is Carol Miller.
Boy, the joint is crummy with Millers today, isn't it? I'll tell you. Here is Carol Miller's story. Listen to it very carefully. Here's what Carol says. I, Carol Miller, maintain that careening down rapids in a rubber boat is the most exciting thing in the world. I have successfully challenged the swirling rapids in the Rogue, Colorado, and Green Rivers, as well as the middle fork of the Salmon. The boats or rafts are surplus pontoons tied together with nylon lashing to make them flexible enough to slide over rapids without jackknifing. In addition to riding rapids myself, I help organize fabulous river tours throughout the magnificent West. All of the tours are checked by air and mapped right down to the smallest rock before the trips are planned. By the way, I have yet another outdoor string to my bow. I have climbed 133 mountain peaks over 5,000 feet high. Signed, Carol, what else, Miller. And let's see, we'll start the questioning with Nipsey Miller.
Miss Miller, number 3. Where are there 133 peaks higher than 5,000 feet?
The Sierra Mountains in California.
Number 2, when you go down that stream, are you strapped to that raft?
No, you're not.
Is there anything to hold you there other than your desperate grasp on whatever lashings may be there?
You just hang on to the lashings.
Number 1, is there a pilot or anyone who guides or navigates this rubber raft?
Yeah, me.
Oh, what control would you be able to execute over the current and the natural flow of the drift of the boat?
Well, you have people that are actually paddling, and you kind of tell them which way to be going. And
do you do this as a career or in
Her answer is yes, if indeed she is the right one, and we go to Kitty.
It's fascinating. Number 3, how come those rubber rafts don't get snagged or ripped on those jagged rocks?
Yeah.
Well, they do.
And then what happens?
We carry
Everybody's in the drink.
No, there's 3 pontoons.
So?
And, if one goes, you still have flotation, but we carry material to patch it too.
Goodness, and you patch it on, number 2, you patch it en route?
Well, you have to pull over to the shore in order to patch it. You don't patch it on the river.
Number 1, what is the youngest...
You don't get out and lie under it.
I see. Number 1, what is the youngest passenger that you take with you is allowed to be?
the youngest one I've had was about 5.
Ooh, oh, my goodness. Number 3, well, how often do you stop for food? How long is the trip between going ashore, failing a rip, and having to go?
You mean between meals?
No, between how long are you in the water before you get on shore?
Well, you stop at campgrounds along the way.
But how long are they between campgrounds?
And before you got that answer, you got a buzz, and we're going down to Bill Cullen.
Number 1, my wife has always wanted to make this trip. She thinks it's the most fascinating thing in the world. So does Peggy. Now, let Peggy, I have to stick with my own wife here. Now, how much does it cost for me to go down there with my wife, number 1?
It depends on how long you're interested in going. Trips run from 3 days to 10 days.
Holy mackerel. How much is a 3-dayer? Let's start off at the bottom.
Cheapy, about $40.
Cheapy. Now, number 3, is it all right if I start my wife off up top, and is there any way I can walk down there and meet her when she gets... or take a bus or something?
Well, I guess you could join her at another station.
How could I do that, number 2? Is it possible physically for me to go overland from starting point to finishing point?
Oh, certainly it is. You can drive her to the beginning of the trip.
That's what I'm going to do. I'll save...
You got your plans all made.
I'll save $40 in one life that's very dear to me. And you, exactly.
Number 1, have you ever lost anybody?
No.
Number 1?
No.
Oh, I'm looking at 3. I don't mean that. Keep quiet, you. Number 2, is there a rudder?
Yes, there is a rudder on the large pontoons, not on the little ones they row.
Thank you. And number 3, does anybody get seasick? Or river sick, or what sick?
Really, not very often.
Number 1, do you have to sign a release?
No.
No? I mean, in case I get killed, I'm insured. No. Huh?
Yes.
You get the money if you die.
Well, good. That's terrific. Number 2, do you want them to be able... Do they have to be able to swim, these folks?
We prefer that they're able to swim, but as long as they were to tell the boatman, then the boatman could jump in after them.
Oh, I hope he would. There goes the bell.
I didn't like her. Let her
Here
go.
go the ballots. Let's take one more look at all these nice people. There's number 1, and there's number 2, and of course it could be number 3. We pay $50 for each wrong vote. We pay $500 if nobody guesses right. And Nipsey starts, please.
Well, I listened to the answers of number 2 and number 3, one of which said you pull over to the side, and there's not much pulling over the side you can do in that kind of a current. There is also very little that can be done about making any kind of repairs. And number 1 spoke with such pride in the fact that she herself does it. I think she's telling the truth.
All righty, we got a 1 up there, Kitty.
Well, it's very difficult, and I don't really know which is the right one, but I voted for number 1, too, on a hunch.
An intuitive 1. And Bill Cullen, what do you got up there, friend?
Well, like, there's nobody in this entire audience who doesn't know more about going down the rapids in a boat than I do, so I voted on looks. And number 3 looks like the kind of person might sneak out in the middle of the night in a rubber raft and go down the middle Great Salmon River.
Your wishful thinking is showing. You got a 3 there. Let's go to Peggy.
Well, if you're going to go down the rapids all the time, you can't have the kind of hair that you have to put up in rollers every night. So number 1 qualifies as just being able to comb your hair without curling it.
Bill Cullen is out there all by himself. Let's find out. Will the real Carol Miller please stand up?
Howdy,
$100 is what we pay. It's a clean sweep. Number 1, magnificent. 3 wrong votes. What is your real name and what do you do?
My real name is Mary Ann Simons. I'm a home economist with the J.C. Penney Company.
And she's a very fabulous storyteller. She led us down the garden path. Come on.
She's a good liar. Number 3 with 1 big vote. What is your real name? What do you do?
My name is Carol Haynes, and I'm a housewife with 2 children.
That's dangerous. And the real Carol, save us from answering a lot of mail. Will you tell us what the name of your organization is and how we can get in touch with you, or they can get in touch with you?
I'm with the American River Touring Association of Oakland, California.
Just write to you at that address, huh?
Well, I live in Tarzana, California. You could write to me at that address, too.
Okay, kiddo. I'll do that. Thanks very, very much, as well as the imposters, for being with us on the Cullen. What, only 10 seconds? Huh? I had a great thing to say in 15 seconds, Roger, but I don't have anything prepared for 10 seconds.
Oh, that's a shame.
It was a beautiful thing, friends, what you just missed. We'll see you tomorrow.
In addition to the Cash Awards, our central characters today will receive the Samsonite Classic Attaché case featuring color-coordinated portfolio exterior, strong magnesium frames, and stain-resistant cover from Samsonite. Transportation, other considerations provided by Chevrolet, featuring the new Chevelle, America's most popular mid-size car. New single-unit power beam headlamps, new bumpers and grills, same solid, dependable Chevrolet performance. Prizes or product mentioned were furnished and or paid for by the manufacturers or supplier of the products or services identified on this program. This is Johnny Olson speaking for To Tell the Truth, a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production.
Show Network.